Hi, and this series I will be doing it is written Bible study from 1 to 25 lesson, and I will be reading everything from the lesson. It, it is mostly Bible verses, and if you are overwhelmed, please do stop and take a break and come back to it again. Here is number 1. It is called Can God Be Trusted? In 2009, an American businessman was sentenced to 150 years in prison. His wealth management company was found to have defrauded thousands of people out of billions of dollars. People trusted that the man with whom they have invested their hard-earned money would act in their best interest, but that trust was betrayed. That man is Bernard Madoff. If you want to research more of him, his name would be Bernard Madoff. Truth is essential in day-to-day life. We trust that the package we send will arrive at its destination at the appointed time. We trust that a company will fix a problem, defective product, or money that will be available from the bank when we withdraw a money. Without this trust, life as we know it simply won't work. But there's a bigger question. Can God be trusted? Can the Bible be trusted? If a person has no first-hand knowledge of God, how can God earn that person's trust? To push back against the argument of those who challenge the Bible as an unreliable and false, God must demonstrate that the Bible is worthy of complete confidence by showing that it is historically true and accurate. And in the Bible, God did everything in that very thing. Let's look at Isaiah 46, verse 9 and 10. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end to the beginning, and from the ancient time, and things that are not yet done. By showing that he had the ability to predict future events before they happen, God showed that he can be trusted. Daniel 2:1. Now in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and his spirit was so troubled that sleep had left him. The Babylon king Nebuchadnezzar had a dream that troubled him. As he lay awake at night, he knew he had a dream, something of great importance, but he could not remember what it was and didn't know what it meant. Daniel 2:10. The Chaldean answered the king and said, there is not a man on earth who can tell the king matter. Daniel 2:12. For this reason, the king was angry and very furious, and gave the command to destroy all the wise men in Babylon. This death sentence has serious implications for Daniel and his friends Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, also known as Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Although they were faithful followers of God, they were included in Nebuchadnezzar's inner circle of wise men. The death sentence given to the wise men meant that Daniel and his friend will have to die. Daniel 2:17-18. Then Daniel went to his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companion, that they might seek mercy from God of heaven concerning this secret. Daniel 2:19. Then this secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. Having been given permission by the king to take time to consider the king's dream, Daniel and his friend prayed that God would reveal to them, and God did. Remember, God answers prayer. Daniel 2:31. You, O king, were watching, and behold, a great image. Unsurprisingly, Nebuchadnezzar, an idol worshipper, dreamed of a large image made of various metal. Daniel 2:32 and 33. This image head was of fine gold, and chest of arm and silver, its belly and thigh of bronze, its leg of iron, and feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Daniel 2:34-35. You watched while a stone was cut out without hand, which struck the image at its feet of iron and clay, broke them into pieces, and the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Daniel told the king that the supernatural rock would hit the image not only not on its golden head, but at its feet of iron and clay. This rock would then take the place of the image and fill the earth with its presence and power. Here's the image of Nebuchadnezzar, the statue of his dream, and then this rock that he is talking about is referring to Jesus, and it is Jesus' second coming. He will be the King of kings and Lord of lords over the entire earth. Daniel 2:38. You are this head of gold. The thought of Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom of Babylon ever being overthrown seemed out of question. Such was its wealth that the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 14:4 had previously described Babylon as the golden city. The city's walls were almost 200 feet, 60 meters high, and wide enough for two chariots. The gates of the city were made from solid brass, and within the city there seemed to be limitless resources. The Euphrates River flows through the city of Babylon, adding to its strength. Daniel 2:39. But after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours. Remarkably, Daniel predicted that mighty Babylon would be overthrown by the inferior kingdom in Isaiah 13:19 and 20. God had said Babylon would be overthrown and that it would never again be inhabited. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom ruled the world from 605 to 539 BC. It was the combined force of the Media and the Persian. The kingdom represented by the chest of armor silver that overthrew Babylon in the most amazing circumstances. In in Daniel 5, you can read about the fall of Babylon. More than 150 years prior of the fall of Babylon, the prophet Isaiah in 45 verse 1 or 2 predicted that a man named Cyrus would overthrow the city. And what God predicted years before happened exactly as he said it would. Daniel 2:39, a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over the earth. Alexander the Great led the Greeks, known for their bronze armor, to victory over Median Persia in the Battle of Arbela in 331 BC. The Jewish historian Joseph documented how Alexander the Great knew his destiny as a result of being shown the prophecy of Daniel. Daniel 2:40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. The iron monarchy of Rome conquered the Greeks in 168 BC. The Roman ruled during the time of Jesus, and this great superpower was dominant for more than 600 years. The long leg of time results in much of God's persecution of God's people. They persecuted God's people, not God. Daniel 2:41-42. Whereas you saw the feet and the toes, partly of potter's clay and potter of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile. Iron and clay are two metals that cannot be combined, and they will never get along, and they will never stay together. Instead of being conquered by another world ruling empire, Rome will be divided into 10 kingdoms, symbolizing by the toes of the image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. By 476 AD, the barbarian tribe had conquered Rome, and 10 of these tribes developed into what eventually became modern Europe. Daniel 2:43. As you saw, iron mixed with ceramic clay. They will mingle with the seeds of men, but they will not inherit to one another, just as iron does not mix with clay. In spite of multiple attempts by many different leaders, the Roman Empire has never been reformed and never will be, just as the Bible predicted in Daniel chapter 2. Charlemagne, Napoleon, Peter William II, and Hitler all attempted to unite Europe, but all failed. Even the European Union cannot succeed in the uniting Europe. During World War II, certain British preachers drew a large crowd by claiming the Bible taught that Hitler could not possibly be successful in bringing Europe under one banner. Relying on the prophecy Daniel 2, the preachers were 100% correct. Daniel 2:44. And in the day of these kings, God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. Daniel spoke of this stone cut out with hands that struck and destroyed the image of Nebuchadnezzar's dream and grew until it became a great kingdom that would fill the whole earth in Daniel 2:34-35. The stone that struck and destroyed the image represents Jesus Christ, who will ultimately sweep away the kingdom of the earth at his return. A stone or rock is a symbol often used in association with Jesus, found in Psalm 89:26 and Matthew 16:18. Jesus was represented as a smitten rock from which flowed water for all of Israel, and the rock in which Moses hid himself, and the rock upon which the wise man built his house, found in Exodus 17:6, and Exodus 33:32, and Matthew chapter 7:24. In addition to 1 Corinthians 10:4, it says, "For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Jesus Christ." The Bible predicted that it would be Jesus, not China, not United States or Israel, who will set up his kingdom and ultimately rule the world. There will be a fifth world empire, an empire ruled by King and King, whose kingdom of peace will last forever, and that is when Jesus comes back again and be our King. This is a map of countries of modern Europe that is still here today. It is Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, and England. There are three that are no longer with us today, and that's how it equals to 10. Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. The stone strikes at the statue at feet indicated that Jesus will come during the time of the divided nation. The kingdom of this world will be destroyed, just as all the previous aspects of prophecy that had been perfectly fulfilled. So it will be that Jesus will soon return and establish his eternal kingdom, which is the New Jerusalem called heaven. Daniel 2:47. Truly your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets. When Nebuchadnezzar saw that Daniel's God could remember the forgotten, foretell the future, and overrule any earthly kingdom, he knew that this was the true God. This was a God who not only created secrets, but also revealed them. There are 3 points to remember in this lesson. 1. God has ultimate control over the entire world. 2. We are living in the last day of Earth's history. And 3. God's new kingdom will last forever.